Hello everybody, now welcome back to our studying. This is session 7 of our studying. Today we are going to learn the present simple but in the negative form, as we have learned in the previous session about the present simple in the affirmative form and in the question form. Today we are going to learn the negative form of present simple. At the end of the session, you will be able to use the present simple in the negative form in both your speaking and in your writing. So you have to follow some common rules. To make the negative form by using the present simple, you have to use subject and then plus do or does and then plus not, and then following by the base form of the verb. Just remember, does not or do not. The abbreviation of do not is don't here, and the abbreviation of does not is doesn't. That's the abbreviation of those words. Okay, now have a look together. So when you make the negative form, you use subject and then do not or does not. You can make the abbreviation of you say don't or doesn't, and then following by the base form of the verb. In here, I don't work. We, you, they don't work. You cannot use doesn't with I, you, he, she. You cannot use doesn't with I, we, you, they, but you use doesn't with he, she, or it. One thing to remember. When you make the negative form by using doesn't, put doesn't between the subject and the main verb. As we have learned in the previous session, when you make the negative, in the previous session, when you make the question form, you put does here, you put does or do at the beginning of the sentence, following by subject and then the base form of the verb. The same thing here. When you want to make the negative form, you put doesn't or don't between the subject and the main verb. But there is no an s after the main verb. You say he doesn't work. You cannot say he doesn't works. It doesn't work. You cannot say it doesn't works. There is no an s after the main verb. Now have a look at more rules. You have a look at the timetable. The tables generalizing the rules of present simple. You say are, you, we, they work, are, you, we, they like, do, or have. But for he, she, it, you need an is. He, she, it works, likes, or has. Just remember, when it is changed into the into the negative form, it is very common, and you can remember clearly with the first person, second person, and the third person plural. You just put don't come from the word does not. We, you, they, are, you, we, they, don't, and then work, like, or do, or have, etc. But what you have to remember, it is very important to know that when you put doesn't, you use with the third person singular. And one more thing to remember, don't forget an s over here. When it becomes the negative form, you add doesn't, and you have to erase an s from the main verb. You see that? He works. But when it is the negative one, you see, he doesn't work. There is no an s after the word work. The same, no s after likes or have. Okay, so again and again, put don't or doesn't between the subject and the verb. Just remember, the verb is the base form. Okay, now have a look at more examples. We use do or does plus not. You can say don't or doesn't to make the negative one. For example, I don't, you don't, we don't, they don't. I don't go to the market in the evening. But for Sally is what? The third person singular or first or third person plural? Sally can be a girl or can be a boy, a man or a woman. I say she. Okay, Sally is she. She means the third person singular, right? So Sally doesn't take. There is no s after take. Sally doesn't take sugar in her coffee. More examples. Okay. I want to make stress here a little bit. In the first sentence, you have a look at don't, and then because there is not a third person singular, and then don't. And when it is the third person singular as a subject, you use doesn't. In here, in the previous session, we have learned about the singular form of the verb. The singular subject using in the present simple. You have to follow the rule that any verb ending with O, ending with X, ending with CH, ending with SH, ending with double S, you have to put ES after the verb. When it is ending in ly, consonant plus y, for example, ly, or y, sy, blah blah, you have to change the y into ies when it is used with the third person singular. And after that, we have learned how to make question here. In order to make question, you just put do or does at the beginning of the sentence. When the subject is the third person singular, you put does, and don't forget to erase an s. But today's studying, we learn how to make the question. What you have to remember is that put doesn't or don't between the subject and the main verb. After don't or doesn't, you need the base form of the verb. That's it. Okay, well, if you have any question, please be ready for in-class question. Don't forget to go to the class and then ask question what you have while studying online. You can have more explanation in class. Or if you have my phone number, you can contact me through phone number. You can contact me through message or phone call, but I prefer message. Okay, now have a look at more examples here. What you have to remember is the word adverb of frequency. In the previous session, I have said that adverb of frequency is used in present simple. The same thing. It can be used in the question form, affirmative, or the negative form. But when you use it in the negative form, don't forget, use the adverb of frequency after don't. They don't and then plus adverb of frequency, that is in the negative one. But exception, when the subject used to be as the main verb. For example, she is a student, and then she is late. For example, when you use she is always late, and then the negative, she isn't always late. That's it, because there is no main verb here when you use the word is mr as the main verb, because is mr is the main verb already. There is no other main verb. I say is mr in that situation is the main verb already. There is no other main verb. So you use usually, sometime, always the adverb of frequency after to be. But if you have the auxiliary verb don't or doesn't in the negative form, put adverb of frequency after don't or doesn't here. Okay, one more example. She usually plays basketball and then it becomes the negative one. She doesn't usually. See? She doesn't usually. Put adverb of frequency between don't and doesn't and the main verb. Okay. Now let's practice by using the present simple in the negative one. Jen not drink tea very often. So what is the negative one? Can you change the sentences into the negative one? I give you 1 minute to change the sentences into the negative one. Let's go. Okay, let's continue. So what is the answer? Here is the answer for you. Chen doesn't drink tea very often, and then Nana does not work in Britain, and you don't do your assignment in the evening, and then I don't play tennis very well. Okay, that's the answer for you. Okay, please do more exercise in children's textbook. You go to unit about the present simple, that is unit 7. You go to present simple, the negative one. Okay, now let's continue with more examples, more practice. Sorry, let's move to more practices. Change the sentence into the negative form. The first one is that you have some sugar in the kitchen, and then what's the question form? Okay, now you have 2 more minutes to do these exercises. Have a go. Okay, time to move back to our exercises. So what are your answers? Now check the answers together. Have a go. Okay, this is the answer for you. You have, and then you don't have. Sorry, we have, and then the negative form is we don't have. she owns, and then the second one, the answer is she doesn't own. So there is no more s with the word own. Number 3, they carry, and then the negative form is they don't carry, blah blah. And then number 4, he prefers, and then the answer he doesn't prefer. That's it. Okay, here are more examples. Okay, now please do this one. What you have to do is that take these verbs to fill in the blank, but don't forget to use it in the negative form. So choose one verb about and then fill in the blank by using the negative form of the verb. Okay, thank you. Now you have 2 more minutes to practice this exercise. Have a go. Okay, thank you. I think that's enough because I think it's not very difficult. I believe that you can do this. Okay, now everyone, let's check the answer together. Here, Anna doesn't speak. Come from Anna, not German. So we say that Anna doesn't speak German very well. And then the swimming pool doesn't open at 9 o'clock and doesn't close at 6 p.m. My parents don't live in a very small flat, and then we don't drink. Yes, because Anna doesn't. You said Anna doesn't. Number 1, Anna doesn't, because Anna is the third person singular. Number two, the swimming pool is also the third person singular. The third person singular is used as the subject. The swimming pool can be represented by it. So it doesn't open. That's right. And then at 9 o'clock, and doesn't close. Doesn't close here refer to the swimming pool. Doesn't close. And the last one, the next one, number 3, the parents. My parents don't live. There are 2 parents. You see that? Parent with an S. So plural form, plural subject used with don't. Yes. And then we don't drink. The last one. That's right. Okay. This is the last exercise for you from number 1 to number 8. What you have to do is that use the adverb of frequency at the end of the sentence, and then put in the correct position, then change the sentences into the negative form. For example, number 1, we are happy at school, and then you have to put always in that. So but don't forget to change that sentence into the negative form. So we aren't always happy at school. So from number 1 to number 8 you have to do by yourself. So you have 4 minutes to do these exercises. Have a go. Okay, well, now move back to our exercise together. I think that you have done and then complete these exercises. If you haven't, you can make a pause at the slide and then you do it until you finish before you move to the next slide. Okay, now we move to the next slide and check the answer together. Here are the example for you. You can just have a look. I don't often go, and Chris doesn't always smile, and then they aren't usually at work, and then the canteen isn't always full. Dad doesn't usually cook, and number 6, she isn't sometimes blah blah. Number 7, we aren't usually hungry, and the last one, Paul doesn't often listen to music. That's it. So please check the answer carefully, and then if you are not clear with the exercise, I suggest you to have a look at the exercise again and then check the answer whether it is right or wrong. And if you still don't understand, please go to the class with your question and then ask me for more explanation in the class. So see you in the class in the next session. See you. Bye bye.